Relationship advice. Update. I found out my 31 male, ex-wife 27 female, cheated on me while she was pregnant. Now she says I'm emotionally manipulative because I'm cold and distant during custody switches. Original story. I, 31 male, found out my now ex-wife 27 female had been cheating on me last year when she was 6 months pregnant, and the affairs happened before and during the pregnancy. She had reasons and excuses and didn't want to get a divorce. Says she wanted to stay together and do couples therapy. I just told her to go ahead and get therapy, but cheating was a deal breaker for me, so we got a divorce. The house was mine before we got married, so she moved back in with her parents, who had enough room to set up a nursery and give my ex the guest room. We agreed to an even 50-50 split custody. My wife has our daughter Sunday to Wednesday, and the original plan was for her to drop her off at daycare on Wednesday morning. Then my nanny picked her up around noon and brought her back to my house, where my daughter would stay with me until Saturday night or Sunday morning, depending on what worked best for everyone. Then my ex said she thought the daycare was misplacing some things she was sending in for her to bring to my house, because a few times our daughter came home short some bottles or without her binky. So ex said she wanted to drop our daughter off at our house directly to make sure all of her things get to me. She started picking her up from daycare on her breaks and dropping her off here. I work from home Wednesdays and Fridays. Even so, I'm working. When ex began dropping off Nadine at my house, it was normally about 12:30. My daughter's nanny, nice old lady from Barbados, not sure of her age, but I'd say late 50s to 60s, was the one to answer the door for my ex and take my daughter and her things since I was in my office working. Now, ex began saying she wanted to speak to me directly when she dropped off. She said she felt like she was unloading a lot on the nanny and didn't want her to forget to tell me anything. I would be lying if I said I didn't still have some resentment and anger towards my ex. I don't want my daughter to see that though, so when I talk to my ex, I try to be as emotionally even as possible. Just talk about the things that pertain to my daughter and no more. At today's drop-off, Nadine had a dirty diaper, so her nanny took her upstairs to change her. My ex asked me how I was doing, and I told her I was fine, thank you, and then began to walk back to my office. She sees herself out because she used to live there. As I was walking away, she says, "You know, I'm getting really sick of your crap." I didn't even get a chance to ask her what she was talking about when she just started freaking out, saying I was emotionally manipulating her by being cold and distant, that she shouldn't be punished forever for her mistakes, and how me hating her is the same as me hating my daughter. I let her finish yelling and then told her to leave. I think my best bet is to go no contact with her again and not see her for drop-offs anymore. But I was looking for some other perspectives or opinions on the matter if you might have them. Edit. I got a paternity test once I found out she cheated. My daughter is mine. Now for the top advice before reading the update. I don't know how no contact would work with even sharing of your daughter's time. Definitely as little contact as possible. Continue being a stonewall. You could say, you and I don't need to have an emotional connection. All we do is handle business with our daughter. Yeah, I mean, no contact aside from things that I have to do with our daughter. There is a free online program called Talking Parents, talkingparents.com. Courts utilize it in contentious family law cases. It's essentially an email chain. The benefits are, the time the message is sent is recorded. The time the message is seen is recorded. And messages cannot be edited or deleted. If your ex's excuse for modifying your parenting plan is that she wants to talk to you about your daughter, this is the solution. In the event you need to defend yourself / protect your reputation / protect your daughter, you just press print. Note, she isn't coming to your house to talk to you about your daughter. She wants to stop feeling like the bad guy, either by getting your forgiveness or provoking you into an emotional response, etc. You haven't taken the bait yet. Good on ya. Keep that up. It appears that your ex is hoping for reconciliation, trying to find ways to see you. Since that's not an option for you, returning to no contact is best. You'll need to get over her betrayal enough that you can be in the same room with her for your daughter's sake, but nothing more is required. I can still be in the same room and be cordial to her. I just don't want to make small talk and be friends. I don't understand what the problem is. You got divorced. You are under no obligation to be anything but cold and distant towards her, unless you change your mind about it. You just don't have to treat her in an active, bad way. or in any way leading her to legally accuse you of any wrongdoing. And that's it. It's quite simple. My worry here would be her starting to lie and tell people you're being emotionally abusive or mistreating your daughter because you don't want a relationship with her outside co-parenting. Yes, that's what I'm worried about too. I want to keep things as civil as possible. And now for the update. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who took the time to comment their support, sympathies, and advice. I didn't get a chance to respond to all the comments, but I read and appreciate them all. There were so many great suggestions. Someone suggested a website called Talking Parents, which I believe is going to be a great resource for my ex-wife and I. The thing I need to keep reminding myself is that in 5 or 10 years, the negative and betrayed feelings I have for my ex-wife will most likely fade, but a hostile relationship between the two of us will impact our daughter forever. Because of this, I sat down my ex-wife and had a recorded conversation about our situation. I was very open and honest with her. I told her that I still had negative feelings towards her as my ex-wife, but as the mother of my child, I would always treat her civilly and respectfully, but we had to have boundaries. I told her that we are going back to the original plan, where she drops her off at the daycare Wednesday mornings, and my nanny picks her up in the afternoon. We're going to communicate through the website which items should be sent home with her, so the nanny can double-check to make sure she has everything. My ex-wife isn't happy. I think she was coming to my house in hopes of reconciliation, but I told her respectfully, but in no uncertain terms, that it was never going to happen. But I would love to evolve our relationship as awesome co-parents to an amazing little girl, and maybe one day, friends. Again, thank you to everyone who took the time to reply to my post. This community has been a wonderful resource for me. I hope you all have a wonderful night. You're a stand-up guy. I think you handled that like a legend. Not only a stand-up guy, but an awesome dad. Thank you very much, I appreciate that. Your self-discipline and dedication to your daughter are commendable. She says you're cold and distant. Why should you care? Wish you the best, bro. Thank you very much. I honestly don't care about her opinion, but as the mother of the person I love more than anything else, I know keeping her somewhat pacified is what's best for our daughter. That's an incredibly difficult perspective to arrive at, and you have my, and clearly many others, respect for doing so. Stepping past your own hurt for the good of your child will make a bigger impact on the quality of both your lives than you can imagine now. While you have made healthy, mature, responsible choices here with respect to your daughter, please don't forget to put time and energy into helping yourself feel better when you can. That too will make you the best father you can be. That sort of delusion doesn't go away overnight. Expect her to weaponize the kid. That's why I'm trying to cover all of my bases. Staying civil and recording all communication. Yes, this. But you're doing all the right things. Don't let up at all. She's immature and vindictive. She's pissed you walked away with your head held high. Be aware, the chances are high she's going to smear you to everyone who'll listen. Also, pay attention to signs of parental alienation when the baby is old enough to understand. Your ex is petty and embarrassed that she messed up a good thing with you. Could you imagine going from being a married woman to being an ex-wife, now living in a guest room in their parents' house? It's easier to blame you than face your crap. Be accountable and responsible. Keep up the great work. Next story is titled, How do I sack my bridesmaid and end our friendship after her constant inappropriate behavior towards my fiancé? I, 32 female, have a friend who we'll call Penny. I met Penny, 36 female, at work about 3 years ago. We quickly hit it off and became good friends. I was supposed to be getting married January this year, but obviously because of the pandemic, it didn't go ahead. It's now going ahead next January, and Penny is one of my bridesmaids. The problem is, I've seriously gone off Penny over the last year. I'm pretty sure she's a narcissist, and boy is she increasingly unpleasant to be around. She needs attention constantly, and I mean constantly. She makes absolutely everything about her, including my bachelorette party. She's a huge show-off. She gloats. She's competitive. The list goes on. She has insisted on taking over from my maid of honor and organizing my bachelorette, and has told her I have demanded things when I haven't because she wants them. However, the main issue is that she acts totally inappropriately towards my fiancé. We both spent some time with her this weekend, and the list of inappropriate comments, touching, and just general behavior is endless. It makes my fiancé feel uncomfortable, and obviously makes me feel angry and upset that she clearly thinks this is okay. She gets embarrassed to be affectionate towards each other, and she tries to get in between us when we do, by trying to physically push her away and saying she wants a hug because she's happy for us. My fiancé had to tell her to stop. She tried to play footsie with him underneath the table, leaned across and stroked his face and told him she's missed him. The two have met a handful of times, and my fiancé is very quiet and reserved, so they haven't really spoken much, and my fiancé would not consider her a friend. Trying to hug him, the list goes on. The first time she met my fiancé, she texts me as soon as we got home saying, "Don't worry, I don't fancy him," which I thought was very strange. She then added him on Snapchat and told me, "If you're wondering what the Snapchat I've sent to him is, don't worry, it's just a normal selfie with my daughter." I said to her, "Why would I wonder what you've sent him?" And she didn't respond. Very bizarre. The second time she met him, he came to pick me up from Penny's house. The second she heard his car pull up in the driveway, she physically pushed me out of the way, ran to his car, flung the door open, and literally jumped on him and hugged and kissed him. I was so confused. This continuing behavior, coupled with her constant need for attention and validation, is really wearing me down. We're both sick of it, and I find it really disrespectful. I have no idea how to broach this with her, as I am really terrible at confrontation. And to be quite honest, the thought terrifies me. We also have quite a few friends in common, and I'm worried they will side with her and think I'm overreacting. Please help me figure out how to sort this. As I mentioned, I work with her, so I don't want things to get too awkward. I am also quite confident that she will gaslight me and say it's just the way she is with everyone, and my fiancé is one of her best friends, etc. This is definitely not true. At the heart of all this is one issue. You and your fiancé have a person in your sphere of friends that make you both uncomfortable because of her actions. That's as simple as that. No one else gets to say who the two of you include in your wedding party. Secondly, if you and your fiancé are firm in your beliefs and accurate in your examples, ask yourself this. Are people who won't support our decisions, which are grounded in reality and based on true events, really our friends? That's a nice way of saying, if they choose her, you really do come out ahead in this matter. The answer for you is to nip this in the bud and just tell her directly her behavior is off-putting and inappropriate. And as a result, you can't be friends with her. This isn't a negotiation. There's no reason to give her an audience. You and your future spouse don't want her around you. This isn't a negotiation. There's no reason to give her an audience. I second this statement. No negotiation or giving or receiving of explanations are necessary. Imagine how she'll act at your wedding. I wouldn't put it past her to object during the ceremony and then claim she was just joking. At your reception, she'll insist on dancing with your fiancé, and then she'll try to kiss him again to congratulate him. She knows exactly what she's doing. She is not your friend. Tell her that her behavior has made you and your fiancé very uncomfortable, and she's no longer welcome at your wedding and you need space from her. Don't hang out with her anymore because she's escalating, and one of these days she might go even further. She'll cry and try to guilt you. She'll beg your fiancé to intervene. She'll rant about you to your friends. But she's trying to steal your fiancé. You have to stand up for yourself and your marriage. If she won't listen to you, your fiancé may have to be the one to tell her to back the hell off. God. That reminds me of the OP whose fiancé has a friend object during their Catholic wedding, which forced the priest to call it off. They were specifically told not to do it for that reason, but the fiancé and friend thought it'd be funny. Everyone got mad at the OP because she was pissed and was reconsidering her marriage. Sounds like this lady would love to do the same thing. Now for the last story. I, 23 male, turned down a friend who asked me out, 24 female, because she wasn't there for me in the past. This is causing issues and I don't know how to proceed. A few years ago, I was in a relationship which was highly toxic, but I didn't realize it until near the end. I was emotionally mistreated, gaslighted, occasionally slapped/hit, and a few times my ex-partner forced herself on me. I didn't realize it for what it was at the time. I assumed because she got me ready, I must have wanted it, among other excuses. But I eventually realized how messed up it was and looked for help. One of the people I first went to for help was a friend of mine, Jenny, not her real name. Jenny and I went to the same university, and she volunteered for some groups on campus that helped to educate people about bad relationships, how to identify horrible traits, and so on. These events were only really attended by women at the time. I tagged along to some of these to help out because I thought it was a cool thing she was doing, and this is how I figured out that I was in a horrible relationship at the time. Jenny had been talking to a few other girls just to support them through their own issues, so I went to her to ask for help, after I realized that I needed to get away from my ex. I told her what was going on, but she didn't really help. At first I got the feeling that she didn't exactly believe me, but eventually she said something along the lines of, "I'm sorry, but I'm really only helping out other girls. It's a much bigger issue and I need to focus on that." At the time, I was really hurt because I thought we were pretty close friends, and it felt like she basically ditched me, but I don't know. She sent me a few links for organizations to talk to, but basically refused to discuss it any further with me. I found help elsewhere and got over it, and we remained friends through that. It was strained at the start, but now things are mostly back to normal. The issue is, a week ago she asked me out. Turns out she's had a crush on me for a little while, and after her most recent breakup, short-term relationship, she decided she would confess, I guess. While I'm happy being her friend, I don't think I could ever see her in a romantic light. I asked her for help and she basically shut me out, and that just makes me feel like I could never be emotionally intimate with her. After I rejected her, she wanted to know why. I dodged the question for a bit, but eventually told her and she basically went, "Really? That's why?" and seemed sort of offended. Now she's acting cold to me, and some of our mutual friends have also been giving me weird looks. Some of my other friends, including two who helped me through my last relationship when Jenny didn't, have been really supportive though, thankfully. How am I meant to navigate this now? I just want things to go back to normal and forget about it, since it's bringing back some pretty and pleasant memories. It'd be fine if everyone just forgot about it, but judging by how Jenny and some of our other friends are reacting, it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. Now for the advice. You turned her down for a legitimate reason. And if she reacts negatively to it, and she convinces her friends to react negatively to it, doesn't that prove your decision correct? I think you're right, yeah. I just want to brush it aside since I don't want to deal with any confrontation or bring anything up again. But you're right. Thanks. 1. She ignored you when you reached out for help regarding your relationship. 2. She refused to take no for an answer when you rejected her and pushed for a reason. 3. She's now talking crap behind your back. Opie, you didn't just dodge a bullet. You dodged a whole freaking howitzer. Hold your head up high, you legend. Your reason for turning her down is totally legitimate. But here's the thing. No matter the reason you turned her down, she isn't entitled to a date with you. You said no, and that's all she deserved. It seems Jenny would be just as toxic as your ex. Perhaps this isn't a friendship worth saving. I'd remove the perhaps. It's not a friendship worth saving. Let that friendship die. Because she's probably just as toxic if she couldn't understand your reasoning for saying no. And your other friends, explain to them what's happened, and if they don't accept it, then throw them away too. You were mistreated, and she refused to help you, even though you were in the same situation as the females she was helping. That's messed up, and you don't need a friend like that. That seems like a perfectly legitimate reason to say no. She volunteered at a thing to help people in these kinds of relationships, and when you asked for help, she told you that she wasn't interested in helping you? How could you feel secure with someone who didn't have your back when you needed them? It's probably not going to go back to normal. Maybe she's embarrassed that you shut her down. Maybe she's kicking herself for not helping you when she had a chance. It doesn't matter in the end. Either talk to the mutual friends and find out what she said, or find some other friends. That's exactly how I feel, yeah. I don't think I'll talk to the friends. I don't want to. If they want to know what's happening and ask me, I'll explain it. But I don't really feel up to reaching out and having to explain myself. since they'll inevitably end up in telling people what happened. Thank you.